Hey, Washington Commanders fan. Will the front office start firing members of the coaching staff after this game? I have three absolutely devastating pieces of news about what happened in the game against the Vikings, and you need to hear every word because it shows the exact chaos we're in. The first reveals how Dan Quinn further complicated Jayden Daniels' injury situation with completely contradictory statements that make no sense at all. The second brings Quinn's brutal admission that we took 3 steps back after a humiliating 31-0 loss. And the third explains the decision not to play Daniels as a precaution and what that means for the last few weeks. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell because you can't miss these analyses on the Commanders' disaster, and give a like if you're as frustrated as I am with this whole situation. Let's start talking about how Dan Quinn further complicated Jayden Daniels' injury situation with contradictory statements after the game that immensely increased the confusion. The Washington Commanders season reached a new absolutely negative level after the humiliating 31-0 loss to the Minnesota Vikings, showing who we really are at this moment. To make matters significantly worse, Jayden Daniels injured his arm again during the game and did not return to the field for the rest of the match. The Commanders need to make an extremely tough decision about Daniels' participation this season after yet another concerning early exit. The team has repeatedly emphasized the importance of Daniels being on the field for his development, but Coach Dan Quinn's comments after the game completely contradict this whole situation. Daniels returned after recovering from a serious injury and was looking to finish the season strong and continue his development as a quarterback. This was going to be a tough test for Daniels against the solid Vikings defense, and his game ended abruptly in the middle of the third quarter. Daniels threw an interception and heroically tried to stop the opposing offense, but ended up taking a violent hit in the process. He fell directly on the already fragile injured arm, stayed on the ground for a full minute worrying everyone, and then could no longer play for the rest of the game. Quinn had previously emphasized the importance of Daniels playing for himself and the rest of the team, but we didn't see that consistency today after he suddenly decided to rest him. After the game, Quinn said it was his personal decision to rest Daniels due to the team's poor performance despite the time remaining and the score still being recoverable. Quinn stated that Jayden obviously fell on his elbow and there were doubts about whether he would return, but he could have technically gone back. It was my decision to rest him, Quinn said. And as a team, at that moment, we were completely out of rhythm, and I felt it was the right decision for us, considering everything. Offensively, I certainly liked what we saw on the first initial drive, but we lost the touchdown, and it's in those moments that we need to capitalize and find our space to advance. This statement simply makes no logical sense, and Quinn needs to make a definitive decision about what to do going forward. The Commanders were losing by just 17-0 when Marcus Mariota entered the field replacing Daniels, despite him being cleared by the doctors to return to the game. Quinn said that the team was down and decided to leave Daniels on the bench instead of allowing him to gain the valuable game experience he previously criticized as essential. Is the new game plan simply to pull Daniels when the rest of the team is struggling and give up? It seems that the decision to keep Daniels on the field during the rout suffered against the Seattle Seahawks, which led to the initial elbow injury, affected him psychologically. But if that's the case, then he simply needs to bench Daniels for the rest of the season completely and stop this emotional roller coaster that helps no one. Now, let's move on to the second piece of news about Quinn's brutal admission after the loss. The Minnesota Vikings, with 5 wins and 8 losses, defeated the Washington Commanders, with 3 wins and 11 losses, 31-0 on Sunday, inflicting the 8th consecutive loss and definitively ending playoff hopes for the 2025 season. Washington entered Week 14 optimistic, hoping to build on their performance against the AFC West-leading Denver Broncos in Week 13, despite the 27-26 loss. What Quinn told the team was that he thought we took a step forward last week against the Broncos, but tonight I think we took 3 steps back, which is brutal. For him, nothing that happened tonight was absolutely acceptable in any way. There are 4 games left in the season, and it is essential that we regain the progress he saw last week because we did not achieve that today in any of the 3 phases of the game. Washington was hard hit, not only on the scoreboard, but also in terms of significant injuries. The quarterback, Jayden Daniels, making his first appearance since Week 9, re-injured his elbow in the third quarter after a tackle while heroically trying to intercept a pass. Tight end Zach Ertz, who had a brilliant performance last week, also suffered a potentially serious knee injury. Minnesota started strong with quarterback J.J. McCarthy leading a 7-play, 61-yard drive that ended with a touchdown pass. Washington responded with a promising opening drive, but a 4th down attempt to score failed when Daniels' pass to Deebo Samuel frustratingly slipped through his hands. The Vikings then initiated a dominant 19-play, 98-yard drive that took more than 12 minutes, concluding with a rushing touchdown. McCarthy had a memorable day, finishing with a quarterback rating of 129.2, completing 16 of 23 passes for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. Minnesota also amassed 313 total yards, converting 25 first downs after struggles in the previous 2 games. On the ground, the Vikings gained 162 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. The Commanders' offense, which featured wide receivers Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and Noah Brown together for the first time since Week 2, managed only 206 total yards, which is terrible. Daniels finished with 78 passing yards on 9 completions out of 20 attempts, while backup Marcus Mariota added just 30 yards. Washington converted only 3 of 10 third down attempts and had 12 first downs in the entire game. Running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. was a rare positive point, averaging 5.2 yards per carry for a total of 52 yards. Washington's defense managed to contain star Justin Jefferson, limiting him to just 11 yards on 2 receptions, but the overall effort was insufficient. Minnesota's offense consistently pressured the Commanders, leaving Washington scoreless for the first time in 6 years, which is humiliating. Looking ahead, the Commanders will return to the road in Week 15 to face the New York Giants, followed by matchups against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. And now we come to the third piece of news regarding the decision not to start Jayden Daniels as a precaution. According to Tashan Reed, the Commanders' quarterback Jayden Daniels left Sunday's game after falling on his already injured elbow, and head coach Dan Quinn told reporters that he was held out as precaution only. According to Ben Standig, Quinn stated that he hopes Daniels will return to play this season since he has been cleared to play before Week 14 by the doctors. Daniels is 24 years old and started his college career at Arizona State before transferring to LSU for his last 2 seasons. He won the prestigious Heisman Trophy in 2023 and was selected by the Commanders with the 2nd overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Daniels signed a 4-year contract worth $37.7 million, which includes a signing bonus of $24.2 million. The contract will have an $8.5 million impact on the salary cap for the 2025 season, and it includes an option for a 5th year that can be exercised by the team in 2028. In 2025, Daniels participated in only 7 games, completing 62.5% of his passes for 1,262 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He also rushed 54 times for 262 yards and 2 additional touchdowns, showcasing his versatility. We will have more information about Daniels as it becomes available, but the situation is concerning. The big question now is whether it makes sense to continue risking the health of our franchise quarterback in a completely lost season. With 3 wins and 11 losses, we have absolutely nothing to play for other than the development of young players, but is it worth risking Daniels' long-term health just to get a few extra repetitions? So the final question I leave for you to ponder deeply is, considering that Dan Quinn complicated the situation with contradictory statements about resting Daniels, who admitted that we took 3 steps back after a humiliating 31-0 loss, and that the decision not to start Daniels was made as a precaution even though he was cleared, do you believe the organization should simply shut down Jayden Daniels for the rest of the season to protect our $37 million investment and ensure he enters 2026 fully healthy? Or would it be a mistake to take those valuable development repetitions away from him even with the risk of another potentially serious injury?